In this video, we're going to talk about how to start winning more games in College Football 26. You're going to learn everything you need to know to go from being someone who loses a lot of games to someone who wins a lot of games. From the best ways to play offense to the best ways to get more stops on defense, this video is going to cover everything you need to know. One of the best ways to attack mid blitz in College Football 26 is by running the ball. The run game is incredibly good against all styles of blitz-heavy defenses. But against a defense like mid blitz, we don't want to call it just any type of run. I like to go into my concepts, go into my runs and outside zone category, and call a halfback stretch. I'm going to go into the single back doubles halfback stretch right here because this is going to allow me to actually audible to some different passing formations I'm a big fan of. We'll talk about that later. Now, halfback stretches are really good because look at this defense. They're so stacked across the line where when we call halfback stretch, we're able to get to the outside, and then it's just a matter of our blocks holding up. Now, you're not going to get positive yardage every single time. This is a blitz-heavy defense, which means that they can shed. They can come free, and you could get negative yardage or just a couple of yards. But if you stay true to the running game, you are bound to break one, and that's going to get them out of this very annoying defense. Also, keep in mind that you can flip a lot of runs by simply flicking the right stick in either direction. So right here, I'm going to go to the left side. And if they're using like this right here, like so many people do, guess what? If you run to the weak side, it's very hard for them to adapt. Bang, big play, College Football 26, it's easy to make people miss, and you're able to get a ton of yards without really doing too much, right? This is pretty easy. I think pretty much anybody watching this video can start running stretches and get positive yards. It's important, though, you call the right runs against mid-blitz. You call the wrong ones, not going to go well. Now, our next way of attacking mid-blitz is actually going to be by passing and by blocking the mid-blitz. Now, I'm not going to give you some advanced blocking formula to do it. I'm going to give you a tried and true method. We're going to block our halfback, and we're going to block our tight end. You can do that by just hot routing them or by pressing LB or L1, going up on the right stick to max protect. That's going to block everybody. Now, when we do this, what we're saying is, hey, we are going to block this blitz. We're only going to send out a few routes, and I'm trusting that we're putting out a good enough route combo that's going to be able to beat this coverage they're putting on the field. Think about it. They're blitzing so many people where it's going to be a pain to be able to actually play coverage defense if you have time in the pocket. Look what I'm doing here as well. I'm audibling from a running formation into the passing formation. Then I'm going to go into a max protect. Now here, I like this route combo, but the one I don't love is my outside right wide receiver. B, he's just on a fade route. Right here against this off coverage, it's just kind of pointless. If it was pressed, that'd be different, right? Because that fade from B technically could get open, and so I'd probably keep him. But if I see that I don't think that fade's going to have a chance of getting open, and right there he doesn't, I would then put that guy on a different route. Let me show you. If we only have 3 routes on the field, we need all of these to be pretty solid at beating man coverage. So I'm going to take my B wide receiver and put him on a drag, or I could put him on a comeback. Those are 2 of my favorite routes. Now you see we have everybody blocking. Even if they mug the gap with their user like so many people do right here, we're going to be able to get people open, and we're going to be able to block the play. Right there, notice the comeback route. We drop it, but the player is open enough to where we just have to hold on to that ball. That's fine. That's just football for you, baby, right? Sometimes we got to be able to make a contested catch. Right here, we have the drag open. I'm going to throw him. Awesome. Now, of course, you do have a user defender who's making plays. That's why we need numerous routes that complement each other and do a good job. Right here, they have to worry about the drag that beats man, the in route that beats man, and the comeback route that beats man. We'll snap this ball again. Let's say they're a solid user. They're over the middle. Well, guess what, buddy? I have this comeback route able to get open in the sideline. The formation I'm showing this out of, by the way, is the gun Y-off trio weak, but these concepts apply to everything. So let's talk about the next way we're going to beat mid-blitz. This is the idea of 5 outing. Check out what I mean right here. See this user in the gap? They're sending everybody at us, right? Well, guess what? If we send everybody out on routes and we can make a quick read, they literally don't have the people to defend everything. So 5 outing is the idea of saying, hey, the blitz is going to come in and we're going to get rid of the ball quick. So let's go into the gun Y-off trio weak right here, and we're going to go call this play called double drags. The reason I like double drag so much, and we can leave this play stock, is because we have 3 routes that we can throw super quick, being the left drag, the tight end drag, and this halfback wheel route. If they were to do something like this, where this user comes all the way inside, the first thing I'm looking for is my halfback quickly out of the backfield, and then one of these drags over the middle of the field. So we snap this ball, imagine this, right, bang. Even though they're blitzing more people than we're blocking, we're able to get this ball off fast enough. And if, let's say, they were to immediately jump out here with their user, let's snap this ball again, well, I'm able to hit this drag, and we have the potential for either a short gain like that, or potentially a ton of rack. You gotta think, now they're worried about the run game from when you're in that single back formation before you audible. Then when you go up to something like this, they gotta worry about the quick throws like that, or they gotta worry about you blocking the blitz. Essentially, when you combine these three tactics together, right, running the ball, blocking the blitz, and 5 outing, what you're going to find is that they can no longer run this defense and they have to get out of it. So we take one of the most annoying defenses in the game and we turn it into something that we can easily beat. I think one of the best ways to learn how to beat zone coverage is to have an understanding of what really zone coverage is and what it does. So if we look at the player on defense here, you'll see every player has an area of the field they're responsible for. Now, with this play art, notice Jefferson has this yellow area. He's a hook curl. He's responsible for this area in the middle of the field. He could play at the top of his zone, and he could play at the bottom of his zone. He could be all the way to the left, and he could be all the way to the right of his zone, but he's going to be relatively in his zone area. What's important to remember here is that he cannot defend all areas of his zone at once. What do I mean by that? Well, if I run this play, didn't I just throw the ball in his area? I pretty much did, but he had dropped back to defend this curl route right here from my tight end or from this middle wide receiver. So let's think about that again. Let's look at the defense and let's look at this route from the tight end. He's going at the top of Jefferson's zone, right? So what happens when Jefferson plays that? Well, I have a route going underneath that. Okay, so let's just look at this, the two play arts against each other, all right? The hook curl on the right, Jefferson, is being high load. He's being isolated. If he goes high, we're going to attack low. So watch what happens right here. He's going to go a little high, and so we're going to throw low, still in his area. And if Jefferson goes low, like he's going to right here, we're going to throw high. So let's snap this ball. You see he stays low. Guess what? We throw high. Okay, so his beating zone is all about isolating defender and making them choose. And if they go low, we go high. If they go high, we go low. It's actually really simple. Let me show you another example of this. We'll go to the left side right here with this flat route and this corner route. Well, if we look over here, we're going to see a guy named Sab. Sab is in a hard flat, but essentially he's in a flat zone. I don't really care what zone he's in. He can either go high or he can go low, right? If he goes high, we will throw it low. And if he goes low, we'll throw it high. Look right here. Oh, he kind of went high. We'll throw it low, pick up our easy yardage. Let's call this play again. But this time, we're going to have him go low. All right, so we're going to snap this ball again. Boom. I should have just thrown the flat route. He kind of played both right there, which is something you got to be aware of if there's bumping or something weird like that. Whenever there's something weird happening, I just get my eyes away from it. Let's go back to this play again, though. A lot of bumping happening here again, so we can then work our eyes back to the middle of the field where we had our curl route open. If there's ever bumping, which right here for the sake of this, I'm just going to move this guy down. If there's ever bumping, I recommend moving your eyes away from it just because it can get weird and confusing. Right here, though, you see a great example of him going low, so we're able to throw high. So let me give you a really practical play that I think does a really great job of this. We're going to be in the gun trips tight end offset week, and I'm going to have us call the play verticals from here, okay? Now, the play verticals, we're going to take this, and we're going to take our outside wide receiver on the right, put him on a comeback route. I'm in Oregon State's offensive playbook, but you can find this play in all of the playbooks on the screen right here, and you can find a bunch of similar plays as well. Right here, what's the high-low we're doing? Well, on the right side, this comeback route is going to attack the middle or the intermediate sideline, and then guess what? Our underneath route, our halfback out route, is going to attack underneath, right? So if that defender goes high, we go low. And if that defender goes low, we're going to go high right here. Yeah, right here. Guess what? Boom. He went low. We went high. Now, the best ways to do this are to actually combine this a few different ways. So I'm going to do that same combo on the right with the comeback and the speed in, or the speed, I guess, out route from the halfback. But now I'm going to go with a return route from the tight end. The reason I'm doing this return route from the tight end is we're going to now go inside, outside on the defenders in the middle of the field. What do I mean by that? Well, we have this in route going, and if they carry him, we're going to have the trail route or the tight end return route open behind them. So let's snap this ball. Let's take a look. And we get that area right there. We also see that the defender in the middle of the field dropped back super far. Why? Because he was being high load by the triangle route, by the Y right here going up the seam. We also have a crosser going over the middle. So let's say a hypothetical, the defense plays super far underneath. Well, guess who's open? He is. And if he wasn't open, let's do this now. Guess who's open instead? He is. So now we're running high lows all across the field. So even if they have a good user or a good switch stick or something like that, all we have to do is make the appropriate read, right? Right here on the right side, we're good. We're doing this in numerous areas because sometimes they could have more than one defender in one area. They could have a good user. Things could get weird, like the bumping you saw earlier. Could be a bunch of different things. So we want to give ourselves options to be able to make up for that and be able to put them in spots across the field where they cannot succeed. Simply by doing this, you will always have open players against zone coverage, and it just becomes on you to actually make the read. I want you to pay attention to my wide receiver on the right side here named Sheffield. When I snap this ball, Sheffield is going to get pressed. And one of the issues with that is that press can really throw off the timing of a route. It can even bag the route in man coverage. It can just be frustrating. Who can't get pressed, right? Your halfback and your tight end. So I want to show you a route from the halfback that I love that does a great job beating man coverage, which is the stock speed in route. This is a route that comes stock on certain plays. So you can't hot route this speed in route, right? If you try to do a basic in, he does this. But when he comes stock on a play, you can take advantage of it, and he's going to beat man consistently. Now, it's important to note that there's not a single route in the game that beats man every single time. But there are routes that have a high percentage of beating man, and this is one of them. Now, here's what the route looks like in your play call screen if you look at verticals Y out. And we can actually find this in numerous formations. Right now, I'm in Rutgers playbook, and we're the gun Y off trips weak. But if we go to bunch strong offset, you'll actually find this inside of corner strike. Or if we go to trips tight end offset weak, you'll find a similar route in verticals right here, where instead of being a speed in, we're a speed out from the halfback. But the route works the same. We're just able to get a step to the outside, and we're able to throw it and catch it in rack. Now, who's the other player who can't get pressed? It's the tight end when he's on the line of scrimmage. Now, what I love to do here is have a speed in going one way, and then a tight end on a drag or a slant going the other way. Because think about it. Now you have two players who do a great job against beating man coverage. No route gets open all the time, but watch this tight end drag consistently against man. Watch what he does. He's going to win a lot. And think about it. We have a route going to the short left that wins a lot, and we have a route going to the short right that wins a lot. That's two areas that they have to really defend. Of course, player rating plays a factor here. We are Rutgers going up against Texas, but as a whole, we are now able to attack that left area of the field pretty decently. Even right there, though, he's not getting open super well. Let me just go to a slant route instead on him, and now he's going to cook pretty well, and we're able to get a lot of yards. That's why switching between drags and slants is nice, because when one isn't working, a lot of times the other will work. We go here again. Guess who's open? The slant route. We're able to catch it for a gain of 5. Use halfback speed ins and then tight end drags or slants to beat man coverage consistently. These are players that if you can get them going against man, which you always can, you're going to do a good job against man. Now, obviously, not every single player we have on the field is going to be a tight end or a halfback. So we have players who are going to get pressed. Outside wide receivers are examples of these. What are good routes that we could put on these guys? Well, the comeback route is one of my favorite routes to put in an outside wide receiver. Let's watch this right here on the left side. We're away from the cut, and we're going to throw it. Now, you have to get good at the timing here. So this is a timing route, and you do need a couple of seconds in the pocket. So this wouldn't be my first read either. But if you get good at this, you're able to hit these comebacks and make the catch in traffic where you're going to be able to do some damage deeper down the field. Run Heisman, by the way, going up against Texas. I just want to show that. So you can imagine a route combo like this where the tight end and the halfback, good man beating routes. And then we have two comebacks on the outside. So we have numerous players who can beat man. Now, not every play are these guys going to win, but they have a high percentage of it. Okay. So what's another route that I would do, let's say from a slot? Well, I would do something like a crosser or a post route, right? These come stock on some plays too. Something just to push the defense in deep. Or if we're able to win, we're able just to get a straight up win like that. You won't win often, but I like to have a route that's actually going deep just so the defense has to respect that and we're able to, potentially attack them over top if they're getting greedy. I gotta point out though, these routes will not always get open, so you have to make the read. You can't just snap the ball and expect it to be there. I get sent clips of people doing this all the time. They say they can't beat man coverage, but they're making this huge mistake. I just did it right there. Now, we've established that this halfback in route is really good. I think we all agree this bad boy is great. But why did I drop it the play before? What happened? It came down to the way I was pass leading. When you push the left stick while you're passing, the ball's going to go where you throw it or where you're pushing that left stick. You're going to lead your receiver that way. We have to be pushing the left stick in the direction where we have open grass. This is huge against man coverage. We have to throw it where we have leverage. So if we just watch this halfback in route, we need to be throwing it to the outside and probably down into the outside, right? Because that's the safest spot. If I throw this ball and push the left stick in to the left, watch what happens. It's not as open and it could get picked off. This idea applies for all types of routes. Let's actually watch this tight end deep out route where we have outside leverage. We're going to pass lead to outside and we're able to make this catch. A little tight, but we made the catch. Let's watch it this time here. I'm going to throw this with a bad pass lead. I'm just going to pass lead it up. Much scarier, right? We still call it scarier. I think we can all agree. Let's go again. This time I'm going to have another bad pass lead. We're going to pass lead it inside. I'm able to cut it off, but it's not as good, at least in my opinion. You can really start to cost yourself with some of these pass leads. Although this right here, kind of proven to be a good route, so there's something there. Bad pass leads can be killer. Let's go to a comeback route. We showed how good these are. I'm going to get a bad pass lead on this. We're going to pass lead up, and we end up dropping it. This, you'd want to pass lead down. Why? Because you have open grass underneath you. Let's talk about the most important player on defense, which is going to be your user. This doesn't matter if you're in run defense or pass defense. Your user is super important. So let's talk about a couple of ground rules we need for this guy to make sure our user defender is the best he could possibly be. First of all, we don't want to be someone who's on the line of scrimmage, especially against run defense. We want to be someone who's second level or maybe even a high safety. We'll talk about this later though. Now, the next thing, this is a huge mistake people make. We're on a user and the ball gets snapped and it's a run play. One of two things a lot of people do. They kind of stand back and play super timid. Right there, my user didn't do anything, right? But the other mistake a lot of people make is that they kind of go like straight downhill and get caught up in the mush. We'll see if we can recreate that right here where we kind of just go down and like, we kind of shot the gap right there, but we're just behind the run. It doesn't really matter. You'll see this sometimes too where people will kind of try stuffing the line of scrimmage like this, which can work at times, but a lot of times your user just gets caught up, and if you stop the run, it's because your other players played well. You didn't. What you instead want to do is try flowing to the ball. An easy way to do this is try usering on the side that you don't think the run's going to go to. Okay, so in this case, I don't think it's going to go to the right, so I'm a user on the right. And then I want to flow across to the left. What you'll see when you flow across is, one, you'll be able to slow play things better. This is purely with the left stick, by the way. Okay? You'll be able to play things a little bit better. Either you're going to funnel the run back into other defenders, right? You're going to make the tackle yourself. That's option number 2. Or you're going to actually manipulate the offensive line, and they're going to allow someone to come in free unblocked. One example I'll do with this is get really close to the offensive line like this right here, and then try looping across as you see, and then we try to make that tackle. Of course, as I demonstrate that, he breaks that tackle. We miss it. And that's one of the big issues where if your user is bad, it's a massive difference. Like, your user is the most important tool in the run game. You see a good user versus a bad user, right? We'll go again right here. Bang. This time we get a good user. We're able to stuff this run. Notice how big of a deal your user makes. One play is basically a touchdown. The other is a gain of 0, and now they're passing, right? We get another run right here. My user's not doing anything, and we get a big run, right? User, important. Next thing I want to briefly touch on is that we want to click the right stick in to bring up our coaching adjustments on defense, and we want to actually scroll down and go into our safety depth and go one tick to the left to bring them close to the line of scrimmage. That's going to be about 8 yards off. Then we want to go safety width and then go one tick to the left there. Pinch our safeties. That's going to bring them down and then closer together. This is going to help them get more involved in the run defense game, which is just going to help boost our run defense in that second and third level. Now let's talk about under center run defense. What I want you to call is either a cover 3 or cover 4. I don't really care a ton about the formation. Just make sure you're in a cover 3 or cover 4, a basic stock coverage. Cover 3 sky's perfect. Then we're going to select a single back run or some kind of under center run. What I want you to do is immediately press Y or triangle, go down the right stick. That's going to shade our coverage underneath. It's important that when we set up run defense, we have basic pass defense behind it in case they try to run play action or something like that. We don't want to give up easy one-play touchdowns. Now, using a linebacker in this situation against a run-heavy formation, a formation you think they're going to run from, is okay, but sometimes these linebackers can get blocked. Now, I want you to notice something. Watch what my high safety's doing right here. Number 10, I believe. Number something. Mr. Mitchell right here. If we just snap this ball and just watch him, he's going to backpedal and get into his assignment. This can be okay, but if they're in a run-heavy formation where I know they're going to be running the ball, maybe they've already shown that tendency. Let me actually hop on this guy, user around right here, and then I'm going to flow to the ball. The reason for that is because when I identify it's a run, I'm actually able to get this guy involved in the run game as an extra player, whereas if I was on the linebacker, that safety wouldn't be getting involved. This linebacker is going to get involved whether he's a CPU player or he's an actual user. Our safety, though, you want him to be the user in this case so we can be a little bit more aggressive and come downhill, get that extra body going. And that's the same things as before when we talked about usering. We want to flow to the ball. Don't just get caught up in the line of scrimmage, all right? Now, one big thing you got to keep in mind here is that if they run play action, you have to kind of slow play this a little bit, right? Because if they run play action, you want to make sure that you're able to bail as that high safety and just get back and cover deep. This will allow you, though, to get an extra person in the run defense that you usually wouldn't have. And again, they're passing, if they pass, they're passing from under center. They're not going to be proficient passers. 99% of the time when people are under center running the ball, they're not great at throwing the ball. It's why they're running from under center. It's just the fact of the matter. Now, when we're talking shotgun run defense, we gotta be always aware of the RPO. Now, this can come from a bunch of different ways. Usually, though, it's gonna be some kind of RPO bubble to the doubles or trip side. What I like to do is take a hard flat defender over there. You can run that cover 3 shade underneath and just move him down and kind of inside that guy. So, like right here, you can move him a lot quicker than what I just showed. And then we want to make sure our user is on that halfback side, looking to loop around like we've talked about throughout this. It's either going to open up other lanes for other players or your user will come free. So you can hop on this guy, right? Bang, get him there. And now we're up. And you can do that before the offense even gets to the line of scrimmage. And it's just an easy way to help slow down one of the most popular things in the game. And then by just following the rules we talked about across the board with everything else, we're able to stop the run pretty easily. You really should not be losing to shotgun run schemes. The hardest should be under center, and we have answers for that too. Let's talk about the route that is by far the most dangerous thing in College Football 26. If you run this bad boy, you're going to be doing some cool things. I'm going to talk about the actual route. I'm going to give you a route combo, and I'm going to tell you how to catch this. You do these 3 things, you're going to be unstoppable. Okay, we're going to be talking about a curl route, but we're going to stem this bad boy up. So a curl route from our slot wide receiver, someone in close, or a tight end. Then we're going to take him, hold left bumper to custom stem, and then use the D-pad 2 ticks, right? You could go 1 tick. I prefer 2. This is what the route looks like. Now, the rest of your route combo right now, I don't care about. We're just going to focus on Y, all right? So, we're going to run it. Now, this by itself is unstoppable. It's very, very good, but we're going to put a route combo with it that is incredibly good. So, let's do it again right here. Mind you, we could do it on A as well right here. Totally up to you. And I'll have a drag go underneath the curl route. Now look at B and look at Y. All right? Just look at these 2 guys. Why would this be good? Because if a zone defender drops back to defend that curl, the drag's open. And if he stays low to defend the drag, the curl's open. So we snap this ball, and guess what? We're actually going to go curl route right there, although we had the drag, and probably should have thrown the drag. That's what that's going to look like. So the easy route combo here to remember is simply have that deep curl and then have a drag route come underneath it. Now, the skill gap to catching this, we'll see if we get it right here, is to click on. All right, you want to tap B or circle when the ball's in the air, and then hold the left stick down to come attack the ball. That's going to cut off any defenders who try to make a play on it. So let's go here again. We're actually under pressure. We go here, click on. Notice how I come back to that ball. Then I'm going to perform an aggressive catch by tapping Y or triangle. This will take a little bit of practice, but once you get good with it, you'll be able to make this catch pretty consistently in tight coverage, and you'll never have this ball undercut. This tip right here is going to apply to offense and defense. It's a huge deal when it comes to getting stops and scoring more touchdowns. Any route that attacks more than 15 yards downfield needs a clear out route. So this applies to things like corner routes. It applies to things like crossers, to posts, anything that attacks more than 15 yards downfield pretty much, right? Exception, the curl route that we talked about earlier. That's why it's so good. Post route, crosser, corner. Why does it need a clear out route? And what is a clear out? Well, first of all, when you start attacking more than 15 yards downfield, you get into the deep zone area, okay? That's where these deep zones start to play a factor. So if you just have this corner route running by itself, well, who's he going to run into, right? He's going to run into the deep zone. Now, keep in mind, we're talking purely about deep routes that we're not trying to bomb a defense with. We're just trying to attack deeper down the field, okay? So again, corners, crossers, and posts. So what we actually need is a route going deeper than the corner. Why? Because who does a deep route have to defend now? Who does a deep zone have to defend? He has to defend the route going deeper, meaning that he's going to leave open the route underneath. Notice the difference. Same exact play, except we had a clear out or we didn't have a clear out. This route right here, it could be a slot fade. It could be a streak. Whoops. It could be a streak. It could be anything just going deeper than the corner route. It's going to clear out the area for it. Let me show you another example of this. Right here, I'm going to try throwing Y or triangle. Okay? Now look who he's going to run right into. He's running into that deep zone. Right? Now let's call this play again. Let's put a clear out on the field. That's going to be a streak. Now, let's watch what happens to that crosser. Notice how that's not a deep zone play. That's a hook curl. That's fine. But notice how the deep zone no longer plays it. Right? Let's do this again. Snap the ball. Deep zone is getting cleared out, leaving the space for the crosser. The streak is clearing out the deep zone. That's why it's called a clear out route, okay? This is important on defense because if you don't see a clear out route on the field, but you see a corner route or something going deep, you don't have to actually worry about it with your user or your switch stick as much. So you can kind of almost ignore it, okay? So that's a huge deal. What is a clear out route? It's a route that is designed to push deep zones back. It could be a streak, it could be a slot fade, anything like that, just pushing the defense deeper and getting things open. We'll show it again right here. We're going to go slot fade this time. Going to go a little bit more to the outside. Notice who's wide open. Remember, he was not open without that clear out. This is huge for attacking zone. So let's talk about some easy run defense you can start using to get a lot more stops against shotgun runs, which are very annoying. Now, let's just go to something like bunch strong offset. I'm going to start with an inside zone from here. On defense, I am in the 3-4 defensive playbook in the nickel 3-3 mint. What I want you to do is click the right stick in first and just turn your auto flip defensive play call off, okay? Then from here, we're going to call any play. I'm just going to stick with cover 3 sky. And the adjustments pre-snap are really easy. We're going to spread our defensive line. That's left on the D-pad, up on the left stick, and then show blitz. Right on the D-pad, right bumper. Okay, we're ready to go. That's all the adjustments you have to make pre-snap. The next rule here, after those 2 steps, is to user the middle linebacker who's opposite of the halfback. Okay, so halfback's right side, we're user this guy. If the halfback was on the other side, we'd user the other guy. We're going to take the user, and we're going to move him back, and then hover on the same side of the halfback, around right here, about a yard behind that defensive tackle, give or take. When the ball's snapped, I'm going to try looping around the defensive tackle. Ball snapped, I loop around the defensive tackle, as shown. The reason this concept works is that when we take a look here and look at our offensive line's blocking, so on offense now, I'm going to use left trigger, push the right stick to the left, you can see the right guard is responsible for me, right? And it kind of can change based on where I am. But if when the ball's snapped, I just loop around, they miss me, right? This works for a lot of different things, and it works for a lot of different runs as well. This is generally, this is overall really good run defense. Because let's go to one of the most popular runs here, which is the duo, okay? Same logic, we're going to try looping around, but what you'll see happens this time is that we're going to have guys come free. Let's snap this ball, boom. You're going to see we have that D tackle or the defensive end on the right just come free a little bit. For some reason, this alignment also causes issues in that realm too. Now, let's go to something a little bit heavier, and we'll go into wing tight Z. Let's go wing tight Z inside zone. Now, I don't want to guarantee this will work against literally everything. Obviously, there's a billion different runs. They can do different things blocking-wise. You have a lot of flexibility on offense, but this does a pretty good job against most things you see. Right here, right? Why are we using the guy on the left? Because the halfback's on the right. We go right here, ball snap, we're able to come free. I'm not pushing the left stick until that ball is snapped, but if I wanted to, I could lock my user in place by setting this up. We could pull up the stunts menu, left on D-pad, right bumper, and then I could hold the left stick to the left to lock him, and then we get a little speed burst at the snap, hit stick. Easy run defense, steal it. This is one of the most annoying styles of defense that you can run in College Football 26. This is the send to, but there's a special way we have to do it. First of all, what do I mean by send to? Well, right here, we have 4 blitzers, we're sending 4. So what is send to? We're only going to blitz 2 people. What we have to do for this is to call a formation that has 4 down defensive linemen. That's the best way to do it. So something like nickel over, something like double mug we could do it from. Something like 3-3 mint, I wouldn't like it as much unless it's from that right side where you have that extra outside linebacker, okay? 4-2-5, we could do it. So let's go over G right here, and let's just go Tampa 2 or cover 2 for this, all right? What I want you to do is to spread your defensive line. So left on D-pad, up on the left stick. Now, we're going to pick a side, ideally the side that is either weaker on the offense or that you are stronger on defense, and we're going to let them blitz. We're going to go to the other side, and we're going to zone them out. Ideally, you put one guy into whatever zone and the other guy in a QB spy. If you don't have a scrambling quarterback you're going up against, you don't have to. Now, by spreading our defensive line, what you'll see is that you actually get some one-on-one opportunities. You get a double team in the middle, but then you get a one-on-one on the edge. Now, obviously, this isn't going to come in immediately, but this allows you to have a lot of people in coverage. And you see that pass rush right there? That's pretty insane for only sending 2 because we have a lot of people in coverage. We can do a lot of things here, right? And we're not worried about the QB scramble. I mean, you can run this from any play. And if you're not worried about the QB scramble, well, I mean, you can have a lot of zones. Now, mind you, this will not come free every single time. It shouldn't. So just keep that in mind, right? You will have times when they have all day in the pocket. That makes sense. You're sending nobody at them, right? Like they should have all day in the pocket sometimes. There's, of course, counters to everything. But this does a really good job. One of my favorite ways to do this is man coverage and going something like this right here and then using a high safety. This, especially you have it on that side, is blanking that entire left side of the field with zone and man. Then we're just going here, right? We're just playing some D. Right? We finally get that shed. It's just a great mix-in. You can't run this all game, but you can't run anything all game. If you were to do this from something like double mug, imagine this for a moment. Let's go, boom. Nickel, double mug, call it whatever. We're going to spread our defensive line. We could be blitzing everybody, or we could be sending only 2 people. That is a tough thing to have to decipher if you're on offense. So before we can start throwing dots like this right here, we need to get something right. And it actually happens not on the virtual gridiron, but rather in the main menu settings or in our pause menu. We're going to go into our options, go into settings, go into game options, scroll down to pass mechanics. I want you to screenshot this and copy this exactly. Passing type, placement, and accuracy, slow down off, pass lead increase small. You can go none here as well unless you're more of an advanced player. Reticle speed to 7, and then user only, user only. This is the best combination of just day 1 passing settings and the best passing settings in the game that you can use at the highest level. So I recommend, please, steal this. So this is actually the most important part of passing, and so many people don't talk about this. They don't focus on it, and it doesn't matter what happens. You have to be able to do this, or you're going to struggle. I'm talking about making reads. Now, to demonstrate this, I'm actually going to give you a money play first, all right? We're in the Texas Longhorns offensive playbook. Hook 'em, brother. Then we're going to be in the gun trips Y slot. All right. I want you to call this play inside attack. Now we'll go against a random defense for this. Only hot route I want you to make is your outside right wide receiver. We're going to put him on a comeback. All right. Y triangle, select him. Left trigger. That's a comeback route now. All right. I gave you the play. Do you just snap the ball and just say, here we go? You probably shouldn't, right? Unless you're very good at this play. You probably shouldn't. Instead, what I need you to do first, when you're first learning a play, and then you'll do this subconsciously throughout, is identify what areas of the field are you attacking, and then how do you want to read those areas. Let me give you an example. This deep comeback route, where is he attacking? The intermediate sideline, right? Cool. Okay, we're on the same page there. Do I want to read him first? Right? Do I want to say, I'm staring him down? No. Why? Because for this route to get open, it actually takes some time, right? Like, he won't get open immediately. He takes time to finally get open. So that doesn't make sense to make him the first read because we have other routes that develop way faster, right? Let's look at this deep in route. Are we reading him first? No, he takes time to cut. Instead, let's look at our halfback, who sometimes they can get caught up in the line of scrimmage, but he actually gets open pretty fast. So for me, the first area of the field we're gonna actually read is gonna be this halfback in this short seam. Now, I'm actually not gonna stare down the halfback as much as I'm going to look at the area of the field that he's attacking and see that that area is open. Then I know we have the halfback attacking there, right? So I'm looking at areas, and then I'm moving on from areas. So I'm going to pretend like right there he wasn't open, and I moved on to my next area, which was a deep sideline, okay? Now, we also have a tight end in route who's attacking around the same area, and he develops... I don't love this tight end in, but it's fine. I'd rather have him on like a slant or a drag, but we'll keep it right now. So I can actually read the entire middle of the field kind of fast, right, between the halfback and the tight end, simply by just staring at the areas of the field. And because they're close to each other, I can kind of make both reads at once, right? I see we're able to hit him. Awesome. Now, let's say our area of the field isn't open. What do? You say, not open, not open, not open, and you move your eyes, right? And sometimes maybe nothing's open. Right there we had stuff underneath. I know I'm purposely missing the read to move to our next read, right? But we're here. Oh, I don't like the first read, so I'm going to move my eyes up, and I'm going to look for our next areas, which right there would be the comeback route, right? We also have this deep in route. I don't know if the CPU is going to ever let this get open, but we do. Dang it, we got hit. But this is on Heisman against Bama, so they are getting after me. But you see the idea, right? If you don't like what you see immediately, You're just going to move your eyes up. Now, sometimes you will, because of this, because you're not staring down the one play touchdown, you could potentially miss a big play, right? There are times of this. With that being said, and Bama's just getting after. With that being said, you will be more successful as a whole of being willing to take your time and make your underneath reads first. With that being said, I want to point something out. If you have like a slot streak like this, I would be open for you to quickly check him and just see if that area of the field's open. Wow, they are just getting after me right now. This is why you need to make your reads quick, though. So I might even go with like a drag from the tight end, just because if they're going to keep on getting pressure, we're going to go boom. Yeah, I see that tight end area of the field open, and he develops fast. Making reads is the number one thing you can do, right? Consistently. Boom, boom, easy peasy. Now we gotta move on to the next topic because I've actually kind of done a bad job of this. So here's something people talk about all the time, but they don't really, I think they don't do a great job of talking about it. It's pocket presence. Now, a lot of people tell you, you need to step up, you need to step up, you need to step up, which is true to some extent. But one of the issues is that people say step up as a blanket statement. This is not always true. Instead, we want to just move away from where the pressure's coming from. All right. Sometimes that will be drifting back in the pocket. That is just a natural thing. Sometimes the best thing you do is to naturally just walk backwards in the pocket. But if there's any kind of edge pressure coming, you want to step up. If it's like this right here, stepping up is a good thing, right? One of the best drills that you can do to get better at pocket presence, and this is all with the left stick, is just go up against random plays, call whatever money play you like, and then try to move around the pocket while still making reads, okay? I'm going to really focus on that right here, where I'm going to try my best to have good pocket while we're making good reads. So we can actually test me, right? You guys can watch my pocket, and we can see on this play, am I making good reads or not, right? Am I throwing to open receivers? Boom. Was that good pocket? I think that was good. I didn't drift back, but I didn't step up into the interior pressure either. Go here again. Oh, kind of a loop pressure. We're going to drop back a little bit right there. Some people will say dropping back is bad, but in this case, we drifted back because we had pressure coming up our face, right? Like we had to. Let's go here again. Kind of pressure off that edge. Okay. Boom. I'd have to watch that back because I was trying to make reads as I knew pressure was coming. So you see out of your peripherals that pressure is coming, and so you're able to make little tiny adjustments with your left stick to drift away from them, right? This is one of the best ways to do it. Call one of your money plays and then work from there. Sometimes you'll just stand still, right? Sometimes you may have to roll out, especially if a play breaks down. You may go something like this and just roll out, right? That's okay too. Biggest thing we can't do though is just naturally just this. A lot of people do this. We can't do that, right? I'm not going to tell you have to just walk forward because sometimes like walking forward isn't always the best thing. But we also can't just drift all the way back like this. Like we can't do that. That's begging for a big play. You know, it's begging for stupid things to happen, all right? Drift away from the pressure while making your reads. So we're here. I messed up right there. I actually did do a good job making my reads. Let's go again. We walked back into it kind of. Well, our guy came off the edge a little bit free. That's on us, though. Boom. Right there, I bought myself just enough time to make the read because I drifted a little bit to the right. That's what it should look like. So something that gets very overlooked when it comes to being a good passer, but wow, is it probably the most important thing, definitely one of the most important things, is simply pass leading. Now, we've already talked about with our left stick, we can move our quarterback around. But also, as we throw the pass, our left stick is what allows us to put that pass in a certain direction. Why is this important? Because imagine you're playing catch with somebody in real life and they're moving. You want them to catch the ball, usually in stride, but not always. Because we can use pass leading to actually put the ball in a spot where only our player can get it and the defense is less likely. Let's say right here. Do I want to put that ball behind the halfback like I did right there? No. Right? Because the defense was behind him. All right? So with the left stick, I want to always try passing the ball in an area that's going to let me get the ball only with my hands on it, right, away from the defense. And if I can, in a good rack opportunity, too, to get yards after the catch. Right here, I'm going to pass lead this all the way to the left, right? There's different situations where you're going to want to pass lead things down, up and to the left, up and to the right, down and to the right, things like that. Here, let's watch my comeback route right here. I want to pass lead this down and outside because that's where I have leverage. If you pass lead this incorrectly, this time I'm going to purposely pass lead it kind of wrong, right? We're going to pass lead this up. That's a scary, we timed it well, so we're able to make that catch. But by just being wrong about what we do pass leading wise, it can make things very scary and a lot harder. This is oftentimes why you seem to have open players, but you just can't hit them, right? Or for some reason they get jumped or something. It's because you're pass leading incorrectly consistently. We always want to pass lead to the open area of the field just by using the left stick. If you can do this, and then you can make 80 people miss like that. We're on Heisman, by the way. If you can do this, you will be able to pass the ball at a high level and get open throws on passes that other players struggle with, which is going to make you better than them, which means that you're going to win when you play them, usually, right? Right here, pass lead outside, right? Left stick out. And then make some people miss, score a touchdown. Every great offense has first stemmed from the idea of power plays in this game. Over the past 6-7 years, I've built a lot of offenses, and they all revolve around this idea. So right now, I'm in the James Madison offensive playbook. We're in the gun wild trips week, and the play call we're going to focus on for this segment is the MTN, or motion slot whip in. Let's call this, go up against a random defense, and the setup for this play to make it a power play is to streak my tight end and return route my slot wide receiver. So the play art looks like this. Feel free to screenshot this and steal it for yourself. So what is a power play and why is this important? A power play is basically just our bread and butter. This is a play that we can go to against any coverage. We feel comfortable against it. And it's a play that we could start the game with off, right? On like a 1st and 10, or it could be 4th and 10 for the ball game. This is just a play that we are able to, at a high level, feel really good about. A couple ways that we can kind of tell whether or not a play fits into this category is that if we can go into practice mode against a great defense like Bama, and on Heisman, we can complete about 95% of our pass attempts. And that is basically a really good telltale sign of, hey, this is a really good play, right? Because if we're able to complete 95% of the passes, that's pretty good. And we're able to do that against random defenses, that means it's going to beat most defenses. And you see here, the only pass we've thrown incomplete so far is a D-line swap, which really, to me, doesn't really count. But if you wanted to count it, I guess you could, right? So you see we're able to consistently complete this pass. Now, there's another rule for a power play, though. It's not just 95% of the passes. It is 95% of the passes while hitting different receivers. Let's say for a hypothetical that I like this play, but I only really throw it to B, right? It's a great play, but I only ever throw it to this B receiver. Right there, we get sacked. Nice. That's not really a power play because while it might be good, a good defensive player, whether it's the Heisman CPU or somebody online, is going to eventually take away this B wide receiver, right? They're eventually going to have defense for it. And when that happens, you ag them, you jump through them. I promise you I'm a Heisman. I'm going to prove I'm a Heisman really fast just because I think that's necessary. But essentially, somebody good at the game is going to bag this play. So we need to be able to hit at least 3 different receivers on this play comfortably. Okay, we have to be able to do this. If we can't, we're just not good enough at the play, or the play just isn't good enough, all right? So if we're able to complete this at a 95% completion rate, give or take around right there, and right there we drop it, whatever, and we're able to hit numerous different receivers, which you've seen me hit a lot of different people now, that means this is probably going to be a pretty solid play as we throw back-to-back completions. That means that we're going to be able to rely on this play pretty well, and I would feel comfortable taking it into a game as one of my core plays and a play that I can call numerous times and know that I'm going to be able to execute, right? Because we need that. No different than in real life, offensive coordinators, quarterbacks, and offenses as a whole have these plays and have these concepts that they just know they can execute really well. And if you can do that for yourself, you're going to make things a lot easier for you. So you want a power play. Now, the next part about building an unstoppable offense is having a great run game / RPO game, okay? This is a huge deal. So again, we're in James Madison's offensive playbook, and I want you to look at the gun wild trips week. There's 2 run plays I want to talk about here, the inside zone and the inside zone split. Different formations can honestly be stronger or weaker in this area. And for example, something like outside zone isn't great. And I am in a moment going to show you 2 really good runs, but these are fine. And these are good enough, honestly, to me, to be able to get the job done as long as the passing game in this formation is pretty solid. Right there, terrible run stick by me. But nonetheless, right, we're able to run this ball, and usually we're able to get positive yardage, right? This is fine. There's nothing wrong with this, so this does a good job. But if you want to go to the extreme with this, right, and you want to really optimize and look for a formation that has a great run game, because remember, everything complements each other, right? We have those power plays, then we have a good run game, and then we build from that. If we go to something like trips tight end offset weak, and we call a play like RPO read bubble right here, this is an incredible RPO play. Very tough to defend. Right here, we're just going to keep it to QB. We're able to get a bunch of yards like this, right? We have the bubble here. Let's go see, can we throw the ball? Oh, we get the bubble this time. And you can imagine how this is going to be really tough for a defense to defend if you have good power plays from here, right? Let me show you another example of this. Trips tight end offset weak, by the way, doesn't have as good of pass plays, in my opinion, so it makes it a little bit worse of a formation than something like Gun Wild Trips Weak. Let's bounce all the way over here to the, where is it? I think I skipped it. The Trio Balanced, where we have inside zone from here, which is really good. We even have a QB zone from here, which is usually, these are really, really good. Right there, actually, of course, it doesn't work out. But sometimes you'll find these formations that might have really good runs, right? But they're kind of missing in a different area. Honestly, this QB zone, not very good. So let's try the inside zone from this, right? Like, this one's going to be a unique formation. It's a line super cool. And so we're able to do something really nice from this. So it has a good run game. But what we're lacking is that, there's not great pass plays from this. So it's not a good formation. So you got to, no formation has everything. But you got to be aware of what you want and what you don't want. And there's always give and take to some extent. This area goes underrated as heck, and it's so important to add into your offense. This is the idea of quick snapping, okay? So I'm in the James Madison offensive playbook. We're going to be in the Gun Wild Trips Week. And let's scroll down here, and we'll find a really good quick snap play. I'm going to talk about what this type of play should be and why you want one. We're talking about 22 shallow sail, all right? So let's call this play. Now, for this, all I want to do is put my tight end on a slant. Wide triangle, select the tight end, put him on a slant route. Here we go. We're going to snap the ball. So first and foremost, what is a quick snap play? This is a play that you're looking to snap the ball quick. This is actually a tactic teams use in real life all the time where they go up-tempo. You'll see this both at the collegiate level, the high school level, and the NFL level. The way we recreate this in-game is by making just one hot route. You could potentially also just do this with a run play too, because there's no hot routes, but you're getting to the line and snapping as fast as you can, which means you make this hot route as you're breaking the huddle. Now, with this, we want to make sure we're calling a good play, right? This doesn't necessarily have to be as good as like one of our power plays, right? Where we need to complete that pass almost every single time. But this should be a high level and pretty elite play that we're able to have an 85% completion rate on. We're able to snap this ball and be just calling a good play. It's going to beat a lot of different coverages. You got to think, with everything we talked about so far, you got a decent run game now. You have a power play, or ideally 2 or 3 power plays that they might require a little bit of setup, but these plays, man, when you call them, they're good. And then you get into a play like this where you just break the huddle, snap the ball, and now the defense has to get ready. This is great against players who have really good blitzes, right? Because any kind of good blitz takes a lot of setup. This is great against anybody who's just making a lot of adjustments because that takes time. Anything like that, this is a great way to kind of control more of the game. And right here you see, play gets bagged. That can happen sometimes, right? But this is a great way for us to take control as an offensive player and be like, hey, we're going to move at my tempo, whether I want to go fast or slow. It's a great way to combat some very popular defensive strategies, like blitzing everybody, like adjusting to everybody, all that good stuff. This is a great way to get the defense back on their heels. Let's talk about the idea of pocket presence. This is going to be a really big one for you guys because this is the difference between winning and losing a lot of times. Like, this is what it comes down to. So first and foremost, I think pocket presence gets talked about incorrectly all the time. So I'm going to talk about what I think it is and what it isn't. First, it is not just mindlessly stepping up in the pocket with the left stick. This right here, worked out. This by itself isn't good pocket though. Instead, pocket presence is the idea or the skill of being able to navigate the pocket, drift away from pressure, buying yourself more time to hit an open read. Oftentimes, the difference between a play getting open or being bagged is really just a second or so. And so if you're able to buy yourself an extra second, you'll be able to hit throws that players who can't do the same thing can't also hit. This right here is an example of a little unorthodox, right? Different, but good pocket where I felt pressure off that left edge. I actually rolled out towards the receiver I saw breaking open. We were good. Right here, we're just going to stand relatively still. And me and getting sad, I could have backed up if I wanted to. Yada, yada. The idea here is that while making reads downfield, out of our peripherals, the side of the corner of our eyes, we should be able to move around and be able to buy ourselves time. So a drill I like to do is to call one of my power plays like this right here and only use the left stick. Make sure I'm moving around, but I'm still making reads, right? So I'm moving away from the pressure, but I'm still making reads. This doesn't mean I'll never get sacked, but rather this should be a good exercise to see, like, how well can you make reads and avoid pressure. I think that was a great example. I drifted to the right side. Why? Because there was crazy pressure off the left, right? We go here, right there, that was fine, right? I backed up a little bit, but I bought myself enough time. You see what I'm saying? Now, there's always things you could potentially do better, and you'll never have a 100% perfect pocket. Right here, though, we just take off. But you see how I'm still consistently hitting my open reads. A lot of people will just stare at the offensive line. That is incorrect. Because if you're staring at the offensive line, it's hard for you to actually make a read, right? So we want to be making the normal reads and then move our eyes from there with our peripherals. So right there, able to move up. Cool. We miss X, but we take the yards anyways on the ground. That's fine. First read's not there. I'm gonna step up a little bit. Boom. My hurdle. Bang. Pocket presence is a huge deal. Okay, so I want to talk about the absolute best defense we can start using day one on the game. Like, this is super easy, and it's actually going to do a really good job for us, all right? So, any defensive playbook, any formation. Right now, I'm in the 4-2-5 defensive playbook. Again, it could be any. And let's just call a random play on offense right here. What I want you to do is go find a formation and go find a play that's either cover 4 quarters, cover 4 palms, or ideally cover 4 drop that has 2 yellow zones in the middle. But if you don't have that, it's not the end of the world. Let's call it. Now, the setup for this, it's super advanced. Ready? We're going to press Y or triangle, then go down the right stick. We're ready. Pretty simple. Okay? Now, this is what our play art looks like. I want you to be on one of the middle linebackers, someone in a yellow zone. We'll talk more about usering later on, but this is what the defense should look like. Why do I like this, and why do I say it's a good place to start? Well, a big thing with this, as they dot me over my user, I have 2 controllers, so bear with me. The reason I like this so much is that when we shade our coverage underneath, that's not telling the deep zones to play underneath, okay? That's a common misconception. Watch right here. I'm gonna put a bunch of streaks on the field. Just because I shaded my coverage underneath does not mean my deep zones are gonna get beat over top now. All right, so what shading underneath does is actually it gets all the underneath zones to play lower. So my hook curls in the middle right here, they're going to play lower to the line of scrimmage. My flats are in hard flats now. So if someone tries to do something frisky, like they keep on trying to throw drag routes or like halfback routes, well, that was crazy. That was crazy. They're going to get bagged now, okay? This does an incredibly good job at stopping the majority of things that people want to do and forcing them to be a good player by having them have to attack the next level, which is where our user's going to come in, which we're going to talk about now. So for both the run game and the pass game, the most important player on the field is going to be the user defender. This is a guy who can go across the field and really do any assignment. So your user is really the guy that you're literally on or usering on defense. So right now, it's this guy who you see usually in the middle of the field. Notice my area is this yellow zone. But when the ball snapped, depending on the route combo, I might see something else getting open, and I might be able to help my defense out by reacting, getting over there, and defending it, okay? So this is a very valuable player because of how versatile he is, and he's us, so we're able to see the entire field, whereas a CPU player would only be going to his exact assignment, okay? So that's a huge deal. I highly recommend you user a player who's in a yellow zone. Now, there is some argument at times to user somebody in a flat or even somebody in a high safety role where we're going to talk about this actually later in this video. But as an easy rule of thumb, user one of these yellow zones. They're the best bang for your buck, right? If you're wrong, well, you just get hit right here in the middle. It's like, well, not the end of the world. And if you're right and you do a great job usering, you're able to take away a lot of ground that a lot of other players can't really do. So by using correctly, we have so much ability to make any defense we run way better. That's a huge difference. This is the guy who, if you're getting turnovers on defense, it's because you have a good user. Like, that is why. Especially when you start playing against better offensive players, the people who have a good user are the ones who get stops. All user movement for me is done with the left stick until I'm running in one solid direction, where then I'll hold right trigger to get that kind of speed burst. Right trigger is that sprint button. So it's all left stick. Then we're going to hold right trigger when I decide. So right here, oh, I see that post route. I got to run to it. I'm holding right trigger. You can go left trigger or L2 on PlayStation to strafe at times. This will give you better animations, but you won't be able to move as fast, right? So if you're trying to square up on a certain ball, we might want to strafe. Right here, I'm going to square up, try to play this, and we drop the interception. But squaring up with the strafe button, LT or L2, help get me in a pretty decent position. Now, one of the big areas of just an issue with this style of defense I'm running right now is think about what we're doing. We're pressing Y or triangle, going down that right stick, and we're creating a cover 4 hard flat style defense. We're doing a great job defending underneath, and we're also going to do a great job defending deep. But we're kind of leaving the intermediate sideline area of the field pretty open. And while we've talked about the idea of usering, sometimes when there's a route just all the way to the sideline, your user can't really get there. So what can we do here? Well, in this game, we actually have the ability to change our user mid-play. Now, in previous years, people would do something like tapping B or circle, which actually isn't the best way because it's just going to move you onto the closest defender to the quarterback. Instead, we can do a feature called switch sticking. This allows us to switch to another coverage defender and go take care of a route like you see right there. That ability is a really big deal. Let me show you that again, okay? This guy on the right side is in a hard flat. We all see that. But when I snap this ball, I see, oh, corner route, corner route, corner route. I'm actually going to get up there and go defend that corner route and be able to get a knockout. The way I'm doing this is by using the right stick and flicking it in the direction of the player I want to switch onto. So on any pass play, if you're on a defender who's in a coverage assignment, you can have this ball snapped and switch onto somebody and go help defend that player. Now, right now we have a defensive end in that spot, so you can imagine what capabilities we have here. You could be really aggressive with this, right? This time I switch onto that DB of over top, and we drop the interception. But again, you see the ability of what switch stick can do. Another example of this might be, oh, I know they want to throw this post route. I might switch onto the safety and come down. Now, how do you know where to switch? Part of it is just a massive skill gap, being able to anticipate where you think the offense is going to throw the ball. Part of it, though, is just knowing, hey, my defense is weak in the intermediate sideline areas of the field. We can all agree, right? So I know if I see a route combo, oh, corner route, corner route, corner route. Like if I see a route combo that's attacking that side of the field, or I might switch stick over there, right? If we look at the right side right here, I see an out route, I see a guy going vertical. I know they're probably running some kind of combo to that side of the field, and I can switch stick there, right? So that allows me to still be, have my user in the middle of the field, but then switch stick to be able to help make plays. Now, this can give up big plays at times, right? You could do something like this, where we switch stick down, try to overplay it, and then, we throw a potential bomb over top. That's one of the reasons I like cover 4, because we do have that extra help, like you see there. But switch stick can, at times, be somewhere like, ooh, it messes you up. Right here, we use switch stick to come down on that kind of hook curl, or that ghost route from the halfback is what it used to be called, and we're able to go make a play. Right, see it again, go make a play. This is a way that your user gets way better because the switch stick is an extension of the user. Again, right here, nice try, buddy. We're going to drop an interception, 2nd and 10. This is a mechanic where if you want to get stops, you got to get better at switch sticking. It's a huge deal. So I want to talk about how to get some easy pressure out of some defenses in College Football 26. This is not going to be some glitchy, insane money blitz or something like that, but it's just going to be an easy concept that you can really apply to anything to get more pressure, just get a better pass rush. So right now we're in nickel over, and we've been working out of the cover 4 drop field. I actually want us, for when we're sending some kind of pressure, especially if you're running some kind of blitz, to go to cover 3 or cover 2. Let me call Tampa 2 right here. But as I call it, I'm going to hold down this icon, and I'm going to scroll down and find one of the stunts, okay? A couple stunts I really like in this game. One of them is going to be at the very bottom. It's going to be Texas 4-man. I like to spread my defensive line with that. And the other is going to be a Tom 2-man. So right here, I'm just going to let up the icon, and it's going to select the Tom 2-man. Now, what I want you to do is press left on the D-pad, go down on the left stick, and then we're pretty much good to go. If you wanted to go right on the D-pad and tap right bumper to show blitz, you could. That'll just get your linebackers to be a little bit more aggressive and look a little scary sometimes. But this right here is a really good way to get your defensive line getting active. Now right there, for some reason, they didn't stunt at all. But what it appears to me, and you kind of see it right there as an example, that when you have stunts activated, your defensive line just seems to shed way better. This is not a glitchy blitz. There are a lot of really good, actual blitzes that require setups in this game. That's not what we're talking about in this video. We have other videos that go over stuff like that. But instead, this is just a basic pass rush that you see. This is doing a good job with Western Michigan's defensive line against Texas's offensive line. This is not something that you just will, glimmer at. It just seems like you get better sheds when you do this. The same idea goes for Texas 4-man. I'll set that up really fast, where, here we go, Texas 4-man. We're going to see some loops inside. We actually get almost a free rusher. We get a shed, and we just flush the QB out of the pocket. Now, with this, you are always able to do something like left Tom 2-man and then contain, which is right bumper, left bumper. And now we have this little number happening where we have the little stunt happening in the middle, and then contains keeping the QB in the pocket. This is all stuff we could do from the normal defenses we run to be able to get a little bit of a better pass rush and put more pressure on the opponent. Now, when talking about run defense, there's a couple of easy things we can make sure we're doing here. One is that our user is the most important player in the field, right? He's the most important on pass plays and on running plays. So I want you to always pinch your defensive line. That's a good rule of thumb. We can add that even to our base defense. So left on the D-pad, down on the left stick, we're going to pinch our defensive line. I want you using that yellow zone, but I want you to be on the same side as a halfback, at least against shotgun runs. Under center, be on the side of the weak side of the field or the formation, so that way it's more likely they're going to run away from you. The reason for this is that our user is going to do what's called looping over top, and he's going to come free a lot of the times. This is all being done with the left stick, where I'm just going here, kind of slow playing a little bit, and you'll see my user come free. Now, An extra tip I can give you is if you're really scared about pressure or about the run game and they're doing a good job running the ball, because there are ways, of course, to beat this. You can hop on a high safety, right? Cover four, you'd go on the weak side safety, and you just get him down into the box. From here, it'd be the same idea, but by getting a safety in the box, you're being a little bit more aggressive, and you're allowing another hat to get in there, which is going to help confuse the offensive line and allow you to potentially come free and make some tackles in the backfield. I do this a lot against under center formations when I don't think my opponent's a good passer, and I'm just like, you know what? Try passing. If I need to bail deep with my user, I will. Most likely, though, he's going to be the one coming downhill to either get the tackle or to force the ball carrier back into the teeth of our defense, be able to make a tackle for not much of a gain. You see it happen right there.